I just caught a quick quote from the thing that was just released by Peterson today on the Rubin Report. I've never even watched the show, but just catching this quote, and I want to line it with a C.S. Lewis quote. Just a second here, starting at minute 12.
Trying to diagnose the level at which the discussion should be taking place. And I think the reason that this is a tumultuous time is because it actually is a time for discussion of first principles. And it's that, and
Yes.
first principles are virtually at the level of theology, right?
And you very seldom hear Peterson use that word, and for reasons he explains a little bit earlier in the conversation.
Because first principles are the things that you assume and then move forward. It's like, well, what should we assume? Well, the dignity of the human soul. Let's start with that. You can't treat yourself properly without assuming that. You can't have a relationship with another person. You can't stabilize your family. You can't have a functional society. So what does it mean for this human soul to have dignity? Well, the part of the idea is that you're participating in creation itself, and you do that with your actions and your language. And you get to decide whether you're tilting the world a bit more towards heaven or a bit more towards hell. And that's actually what you're doing. So that's a place where the literal and the metaphorical truth come together. And people are they're terrified of that idea, as they should be, because it's a massive responsibility. It's a massive realization of responsibility to understand that all the decisions that you make during the day are decisions between hell and heaven, essentially. But I think there is no truer way of saying that. So
now, I could not hear that, and again, not think back to a section in Mere Christianity. This is from Mere Christianity, C.S. Lewis. And that leads on to my second point. People often think of Christian morality as a kind of bargain in which God says, if you keep a lot of rules, I'll reward you, and if you don't, I'll do the other thing. I do not think that is the best way of looking at it. I would rather say that every time you make a choice, you are turning a central part of you that chooses, into something a little different from what it was before, and taking your life as a whole, with all your innumerable choices, all your life long, as you are slowly turning the central thing either into a heavenly creature or into a hellish creature, either into a creature that is in harmony with God, or with harmony and with other creatures, and with itself, or else that which is in a state of war and hatred with God and its fellow creatures and with itself. To be the one kind of creature is heaven, that is, it is joy and peace and knowledge and power. To be the other means madness, horror, idiocy, rage, impotence, and eternal loneliness. Each of us at each moment is progressing to the one state or the other. Mere Christianity, page 92, and C.S. Lewis penned that probably in the 40s during his lectures, during his radio talks during the Second World War on BBC Radio. Now, I'm not saying that both of these men are saying exactly the same thing, but I think it is instructive if you dive down deep into both men and find out where they're located in history, where they're located in terms of their metaphysical maps, and listen to those two sections. You can get a window into how they are saying, in what ways what they are saying, which sounds exactly the same thing, is very similar, and what ways it's different. And it's kind of in that sense that you can begin to understand why Peterson and Lewis are such good conversation partners. Just wanted to make this, just point out that little thing. The beginning of that Rubin video, Peterson's talking metaphysics quite a bit more than I've heard him in most things. So it's going to be interesting once I get a chance to hear the whole thing, but I've got too much work to do right now that I can't do it right now. So just a quickie.